Hello everyone, this is Alyssa. This weekend, the highly anticipated Backrooms movie released in theaters, directed by Kane Parsons. He's known for creating the YouTube series based on these liminal spaces. I don't know too much about the Backrooms lore. I've seen the Wendigoon video, but nothing else really. I was excited for this film, but also nervous. Though regardless of how it turned out, it's very cool of A24 to take a risk on a 2005 baby making a movie based on an internet trend. And luckily, I thought this film was really great. It merges the found footage style and internet horror elements well with the sensibilities of a Hollywood movie. The beginning feels conventional, not in a bad way, but it pretty clearly explains where we are and who the characters are. The two leads, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Reinsve, are given a lot of depth and the actors give great performances. The plot of the film follows the owner of a furniture store, Clark, and his therapist, Mary. Clark discovers a secret gateway to these backrooms inside a store and attempts to make sense of them. The seeming normality kind of lulls you in as the movie progressively gets stranger. Towards the end, it's a full-on surreal David Lynchian experience. Overall, I love the logic of this movie. At times it's very weird, but you do understand why it's being weird. The technical elements also really enhance the mood and vibe of the film. In particular, the sound design and score are great, and I especially like the choices to have certain audio playing over certain scenes. I also like how it establishes the setting and the world outside. There are a lot of establishing shots of the city they live in that contrast the world inside the backrooms. The backrooms themselves feature really excellent production design as well. I also love the one scene that they show in the trailer where Renate Reinsve's character looks like Isabella Johnny in the subway scene in Possession. I also found the direction and more action-heavy scenes in this to be well done. This movie understands something very well about horror, which is that a lot of the scariest stuff is what you don't see. And this has a lot of subtlety and restraint in that way. There's implied to be a monster of some kind in the backrooms, which we don't really see at all. It also understands that not everything has to be explained. There's a lot that remains mysterious by the end, which just makes you think more and fill in the blanks for yourself. A kind of Easter egg I thought was interesting was the employee's shirt that said "End Apartheid." Apartheid literally translates to apartness or separation. I think this was definitely a deliberate choice by the filmmaker to reference the separation between the real world and the world of these backrooms. This film reminded me of Jordan Peele's 2019 movie Us, that also had two separate worlds, one above and one under, and what happens when people cross between them. What the backrooms are supposed to represent is pretty clearly stated as the human subconscious or brain. It's really about mental health. I mean, Mary's character is a therapist. Both her and Clark's characters are shown to struggle with mental health problems. The absence of any outside or sunlight in the backrooms is kind of like the inside of our mind. How the backrooms take normal human environments and fail to replicate them also shows how our subconscious takes things that are real and interprets them in a damaging or incorrect way, thinking it's protecting us. It also reminded me of artificial intelligence and how it often fails to replicate the real world in an uncanny way. If you look at the set design and aesthetics of the backrooms, it reminds me of the early DALL-E AI art generations. There are also the dreamlike Lynchian elements later in the film that take the uncanny nature of the backrooms further. A lot has been made over the director being 20 years old, but honestly, if you never told me that, I never would have guessed. I'm really excited to see what he does next. This was a film I enjoyed a lot and think was a really interesting experience. I would definitely recommend seeing it in the theater. I would give it a strong 8 out of 10. On a side note, I got my ID checked at a movie for the first time in my life seeing this film. I've been to tons of R-rated movies in my life and that never happened before. Anyways, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Bye bye.